I think you should say it's funny.
You want me to say it?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is really bad because it's probably not even that like deep. If someone has read my message for more than 15 minutes,
Oh my god.
I'm like, where are you? Why have you not responded?
But I think because people are more proud to be like a Singh, it's like they're encouraging more people to kind of embrace their identity and do what they want to do.
For me, I don't care about caste. However, my nan, to all my cousins and me, has always said there's certain castes that you cannot marry. Panjabi music is very hot right now. We went out once. There was individuals who weren't actually like Indian. In one of the songs, I can't remember what it was, but it said something, it mentioned Jad. And all I remember was them going like this and like that when it said, and I looked at them and I was like, they don't even know what that means. But they were just seeing other brown people doing it.
Especially at gatherings, it's always like you're catering for the men, so all the women will be there cooking together in the kitchen while the men are sat there waiting to be fed, and then by the time the women come to eat and all the food's cold.
I don't know again what the future holds, but if it was to come to that, I wouldn't mind it as long as I get on with his parents as well, which is obviously quite a big of an important thing.
Hi, my name's Isha.
Hi, my name's Simran.
And I'm Ria.
And we're Girl Who Cares. We're a podcast that talks about brown girl insecurities, mental health, and basically anything. And today we are on a special guest for Sikhing. So personally for me, I wouldn't say I'm currently like actively searching at the moment. I'd still say I'm pretty young at the moment. I'm 22. But if it was to come, then maybe like I'd explore it. I don't feel like I'm in a rush for anything at the moment, and I don't really have that sort of pressure. I know some people do, like their parents say to them, you have to be married by this age and you need to start looking, and some people's parents will even start like arranging things for them. Personally for me, my parents aren't like that, and well, I'm still at university as well, so I'm kind of just going with the flow, not really searching at the moment.
I think it depends on like your family, doesn't it? Because obviously like as a brown girl, I'm personally just kind of like, what comes my way comes my way. Whereas my nanny, she is very much like, well, you finish uni now, you're going to be finishing uni, so have you found someone? You know, the next stage is look for someone. And it's, in my eyes, no, it's not. But coming from my family's background, not my parents, but my nanny, yes, she's kind of like, you should be looking now.
I feel like it's definitely more the older generation that kind of put that pressure on you. Like you'll see someone at a wedding and they're like, oh, is it not time that you start getting married soon?
A wedding's like that social event for like it's like a dating app. Dating scene.
To be fair, like a lot of people my age are starting to get married now, and I feel like the pressure's actually getting a bit worse because I've never really felt in a rush, but now that people my age are getting married and I'm attending like their weddings, I'm like, that should be me.
And it's like you haven't found the person yet, so then it's kind of like, hold on, I need to find them, get along with them, get to know them, and then marry, and time will fly by.
But I've been quite lucky with my parents as well, that they've never put pressure on me. It's more like whenever you find the person rather than them arranging it, they want me to find it. So like not actively in the search, but whatever comes, it comes the way. But I feel like a lot of people, they're like, oh, I want to date this person for 4 years, I want to date this person for 3 years. But it's like nowadays, if you see, people literally get engaged within a year of knowing someone. So I feel like for me, it's more like the person. I feel like if you can just click with them, you can easily get engaged to them within a year or so.
To kind of find out if someone is actually marriage material, I think you kind of get to that point where you start considering marriage.
I think if you like them, then early on, you should kind of start to figure out these things. Within the first year, I want to kind of have set those boundaries, like, well, I'm this, I want to do this, I like this, my family want this. I would talk about that within the first year, and then the third year, second year, that's for me to, you know, just build our connection together. But obviously I would talk about, you know, my goals and everything, like everything that's important, I would establish first within that first year. I want them to have the same values, and kind of, obviously, I want them to have the same religious background, because then obviously with me, for example, with kids, like I don't want my kids, I want them to, you know, follow the same thing as me. So it's important they are the same religion as me, because then they have the same understanding. You know, they've come from the same background, same religious values, etc. I think for me, a red flag would be, because my parents are everything, they are my main thing. So having no respect to my parents. And it doesn't seem like a massive thing, but it actually is for me.
I think a red flag in the talking stage for me is quite a simple one, but I think just lack of effort. Like if you're not taking the time out of your day to reply back, or like just to make effort, then I think it's really telling of what it's going to be like in the future, because if you can't put in the effort now, how are you going to put in the effort later on down the line? So I think from the get-go, if you're actually serious, then you need to be putting in the effort, and it tells you a lot about the person if they're not.
I think another red flag is also them not cooking for me, because I have seen families where it's like the woman, she goes to work, she comes back, and the husband is still there, and he's not made any food, and he's hungry, and he's like, oh, can you make food now? Hold on a
That
second.
really annoys me.
I'm not doing that. Like, if you're hungry, go and make yourself food. Like,
yeah. Like,
well, let's do it together. Like,
Yeah.
I can cook, you can wash, like, or something like that.
yeah.
No,
But
I think that's-
sometimes I want it switched.
yeah, especially in like the older generations, because the woman's just expected to do everything, and the man goes out to work, he comes back, he can't lift a finger, but he expects the woman to do everything. I can't stand that personally. Like, I see it within like my own family sometimes. Yeah, especially at gatherings, it's always like you're catering for the men, so all the women will be there cooking together in the kitchen while the men are sat there waiting to be fed, and then by the time the women come to eat and all the food's cold, it's just like it happens all the time. And I get it, because it's nice for the men, and it's like the women are there to provide, but at the same time,
But we're not. Like, that's a stereotypical outlook on things. See, I would say I don't agree with that, and I think whoever's house it is that you're coming to, obviously they're the hosts, so they sort it out. Yeah, if someone wants to help in the kitchen, that's fine, but everyone should eat together. I don't know if your table's big enough, whatever, but figure it out. Women, kids, men all eat together, because at dinner, for example, if you're having a family dinner, just like your immediate family, does your mum sit there and watch your husband eat and then you eat and your kids? Like, no, I think everyone should just eat together, because why? What's so different about the men and the kids and the woman?
It's just become so normal. I think now not so much so, but before, like, the women would just get up, they'll be like, okay, let's go make the jar or something. The men would just be sitting having their gossip. So it'd just be like an expectation that the woman herself would just get up and go, be like... And I think even with marriages, you see, like, before, the girl used to come with a tray and be like, oh, like, here's a tea for everyone. But you'd never see the guy ever do that. You'd never be like... He'd never himself get up and go.
No.
But I think now more so, like, I've seen, like, some of my cousins getting married and stuff, the guy goes in with the girl and he will come out with the girl.
Living with the in-laws, for me, I would say is a no-go. Only if they are ill or they need help looking after themselves, like they're not capable. I don't really go for the whole put your parents into a care home or nursing home. I don't go for that. So if they need help, then yes, fine, move in with us, we'll move in with you, whatever. But if they're capable of looking after themselves, they have family around them, then I want to not live with them, because I want my own independency with my family. And I think also when we have children, for example, I think that the grandparents they will like kind of bring their own motherly touches into it, but obviously that's how they've brought their kids up. It's a different generation. I don't want them to be too involved, especially being a girl. Their son, obviously they're still going to treat their son like their son, but obviously I want my husband to be very, act like a husband, not like a son. So I would say no to having my in-laws in the same house.
Personally, I think it's quite a nice tradition. Like, I would go live with my in-laws after I got married. I just think it's nice to have them in the house. Obviously you can help them because they're elderly, and then when you come to have kids, they can help you. I think it's a nice tradition that we have, and like you said, I would not want to put like my parents into a home ever, or my in-laws. So I think it's a good way of avoiding that, obviously. But I like the whole tradition, and like the fact that you have a nice big family. Like my baba, my granddad, he lives with us, and it's nice being able to see him every day rather than going to have to visit him. So yeah, I think I would, unless maybe I didn't get on with them or something happened, or maybe later down the line I would move out. But
would you move in with them if your husband said, by the way, we're never moving in with your parents?
With my parents?
Yeah, so let's say your parents down the line needed to live with you, but he said from the get-go, your parents, if they needed to, they're not living with us. Would you then say, okay, well, I'll live with your in-laws, my in-laws still?
Well, I don't think he'd be a very nice person if you didn't let my parents live with us. But then, obviously, at the same time, that's not a normal thing. Like, you live with his parents. Yeah. So I'd still want to do that, obviously. But then, I'd go visit my parents whenever I wanted as well at the same time. And if they wanted to come stay, then they could. Like, he can't stop me from doing that.
Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, no, I agree with you, Simran.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't mind living with my in-laws. Again, for me, I don't know, again, what the future holds.
Yeah.
But if it was to come to that, I wouldn't mind it. As long as I get on with his parents as well,
Yeah.
which is obviously quite a big of an important thing. Because the thing is, I lived over here and it was just my parents and my sister and me. So we've got no cousins over here, no like direct family, no even indirect family. And we've always missed that family touch. So for me, like when I go to India and I see my grandparents, I really miss that.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like if I have kids and they can grow up with their grandparents either near them or like living with them, I'd really like that for them. And I think it would just be nice to like come home. And his parents are basically, I hopefully going to be like my parents as well. So I'd see my parents whenever I need to, but I wouldn't mind living with my in-laws.
I guess another positive of that is learning your mother tongue language. Because, for example, I never learned Panjabi because my mum and my dad, they spoke English at home. They can speak Panjabi fluently, but they never did in the house. If I lived with my nan, because my cousins, for example, who do live with my nan, they can speak Punjabi. So I guess that would have been a positive in the sense that your grandparents can teach you, you know, Punjabi because they're more likely, they have time as well, whereas you being the mother, so you're going to like teach them like the educational side of things as well.
Yeah, but also they have experience of being parents before you. So when it comes to you having your first child, then they can help you out. Like they'll have had kids obviously before, and I feel like they're just so nurturing and kind, and it's a really nice environment to have for your children. And again, they could learn Punjabi and whatever else. I just think I'd really want that for my children.
Girls don't do like pickup lines and stuff.
No.
Like if you was to approach a guy or something, girls never.
You just be honest.
Yeah. Whereas guys, they always have to come up with some.
They think coming out with the most like over the top thing is like the best thing, and it's like, no, literally just say like, hi, how are you, and I would appreciate that a lot more.
No. Yeah, it doesn't really work.
If
funny.
someone gave me a pickup line, I would not look at it on purpose. Like in the sense that by them giving me a pickup line, they think, oh yeah, like I'm winning her over, I'm showing whatever. But I would actually be like, no. Like, just say hi to me, please.
No, I feel like it's doing the opposite of what they want. Like, I see it and then I'm like, okay, no, forget that. I'm categorizing it into like my spam.
Yeah.
Be nice. Don't try too hard. 'Cause
Yeah.
when you try hard, that's when you look even more stupid.
I mean, the ones that I've got that actually get me to reply are like, oh, I think I've seen you from somewhere. Because then I want to know where.
I'm like, sorry,
The ones that get me curious.
In my mind, in my dream.
Yeah, they make it up.
Okay,
I
was
know they
speaking
make
to
it
this
up.
guy, and he was like, I'm not exposing anyone really over here because I've spoken to quite a few guys who do econ. So he was like, oh yeah, I've seen you in my econ lecture. And I was like, you know, funny enough, I don't even do econ. So that's how it started and stuff. But it's like, it's
it's
funny.
the ones that are like, I'm sure I've seen you somewhere. Were you here? And then I want to know, like, no, it wasn't me. Or they're like, you look like someone. Are you this person?
Sometimes I forget that I've posted that, like, I'm in a certain area. So it's happened where they're like, oh, I saw you here. And I'm like, wait, did you actually? And then I'm like, of course they didn't. So I posted it on social media. What?
Yeah, they're the ones that actually get me to reply. But the other cheesy ones that I've seen 100 times, I'm just going to, like, block.
Yeah. I think the constant same questions is it's tiring.
It's draining.
I remember at one point I wrote a paragraph on my notes and I copy and pasted it to every single time that I was like talking to a new person.
Like an intro.
Yeah, because it got so like I was sat there typing. I didn't have time for this. This is just annoying. And then I was like, wait, am I forgetting something? Sometimes, so I was just like, you know what? Let me write one message,
Yeah.
and I'll just use that every time.
Literally same. I've got the same thing. And there's a guy on my Instagram and he's got his whole bio on his bio. So as if he's written a shoe side, he's written
Oh my
No,
god.
wait.
how many siblings he's got. He's written all about his parents, and that's all in his Instagram,
Yeah.
right? And I think at this point he's so sick of it.
That's like a dating
he just
profile
wants to put
thing.
it up there, like.
But don't you think that, like, obviously, for example, let's say I was talking to someone, I sent them this, you know, the message, and then I was talking to someone else, and it's talking to a few people,
Yeah.
sent the same message, and one person could actually be really interesting, but because it's the same questions, what's this, what's your favourite this,
Yeah.
what would you like doing, I just forget about who they are and what, you know, and actually I feel like I've probably hidden quite a few potentials because I've just been like, it's the same thing. I feel like that.
But over text is hard to say anything else other than that.
Yeah.
So that's why I think, like, after you have maybe spoke to them a few times, try and meet them as long as it's safe, obviously.
Yeah.
But meet them, and then you'll actually know what they're like.
Yeah.
Instead of just texting, because you can't tell someone's tone. You can't tell much from a text.
Or even FaceTime,
Yeah.
where you can
even
see their
that.
faces.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah, because everyone kind of seems the same, unless they've got like a massive personality that's coming through like the phone at you, or they're really funny.
Have you ever giggled at your phone?
Yeah, like
Yeah, of course.
funny.
I feel
little-
like sometimes people have like managed to like make me laugh a little bit.
yeah.
I've always laughed on the phone.
Really?
Always be looking up like,
I'm quite hard to make laugh, I think. Like, in the sense, like, if a guy's trying to impress me, I think it's quite hard.
same, because I'm just like, it's the same old thing.
I find
Like,
flirting really
skip.
funny as well. So you know when they mix flirting with the questions, I find that so funny. I'll just be like half swiping. I'm like, oh my god.
I think when you're going on a first date, it's really important that, you know, you think about your safety. Because obviously these are strangers at the end of the day, you know. Obviously your parents would have said to you, stranger danger. Like, you know, just because you think you've spoken to them on the phone and you've gotten to know them, etc., you don't actually know who's behind that phone. So you still need to, it's same with friends, you know, like even if it's a friend you made online, like you need to make sure you're going to be safe. So, you know, make sure you tell a parent or a friend where you're going. You know, it's always good to have like someone who has your location. For example, the friend that I live with, she has my location. My parents have it. They've always had it. You know, even like as I get older and older, even when I'm married, they're still gonna have it because I don't see why they don't need to. But you know, and charged phone, like never ever leave without your phone not charged, because what happens if like you need to get away, or you know, you need your phone. But yeah, and I think also to get there, like transport wise, never rely on them to come pick you up.
So like you said, the location definitely
In a public place as well.
Yeah, like don't go to a park like late at night or anything like that. Let everyone know, not everyone, but like your parents, your friends, let them know like where you're going.
Yeah, definitely.
I think maybe even not like going to a club or something on the first date because of drink spiking.
Yeah.
It's really scary at like bars and pubs and stuff because the amount of stories you see. You never know. It's like this tiny pill.
Yeah.
The person would never know.
Exactly.
So
That's even at a restaurant.
Careful.
You gotta be careful. You gotta just on your first date, have your eye open
eyes
a
open.
bit more than what you would.
Yeah.
Keep a watch.
Yeah, they because when you turn around, when you go to the toilet, you never know.
Exactly.
So just keep your eye open, definitely on the first date.
So if you are gonna get them to buy you a drink, well, make sure you're watching at all times, or just get your own drink, get your own food. Just make sure like you're looking after yourself, because they might not be.
And never turn up to a date expecting the guy to pay, because you don't actually know what type of person they're like. And let's say they paid for it, or you didn't bring any money or whatever, and then they could like use that against you. You gotta be careful. So always make sure that you're not reliant on them, basically. With ghosting, I think I'm really hypocritical because, see, if a guy ghosted me or read my message, aired me, whatever, I would be very, very angry. I would be like, okay, that's it, right? Not giving them a chance, block, remove, that's it, it's over. However, I have actually done that a few times. I've ghosted people, or I've just not replied, or I've half swiped and accidentally left it on red, or I've, not responded. And I expect them to be like giving me another chance.
Yeah.
But so I'd say I'm really hypocritical in that sense, because I would not let them have another chance otherwise. I think for me, this is really bad because it's probably not even that like deep. But for me, if someone has read my message for more than 15 minutes.
Oh my god.
I'm like, where are you? Why have you not responded?
To be fair, that is me.
Because
Wow.
if you've opened it, what was your reasoning to not respond?
They could be busy. Like they
But
could have
don't open it.
They could have opened it and then say they're at work and the boss has called them and they have to leave it.
Well, they better have a good explanation.
But then they could lie to you and you wouldn't know.
Exactly.
To be fair, I'm not too bothered about it. Like, if I'm not interested, I'll just leave it. And it's the same the other way around. Like, if they've opened the message and not responded, then I'll just get the hint that they're not interested, and I'm not going to beg for it. So
No, obviously you're not beg
Yeah.
for it.
and I'll just leave it. Like, I'll just remove them. Like, I'm not that bothered unless it was actually something serious. And to be honest, I'd probably do the same. Like, 15 minutes is
I know, but in my head, I'm just like, if you can open that message, then you can also respond back there and then.
But if I see that they've seen a message like an hour ago, maybe I'd assume that they got busy and they haven't had a chance to respond. But if it's been like a day, then I'm like, okay, they're ignoring me, and that's it.
So if they haven't opened the message for a day, I would ring them and I would say, excuse me, why have you not responded? If they don't answer my phone call, that's it.
Well, they could be in danger.
Well, then... Yeah, but if I'm seeing they're posting something...
Oh, okay, that's... If they haven't opened it and they've posted, they're gone.
That's it.
And if they generally are, like, there's no show of that, like, active on social media, okay, I'd give it a bit. But then if it's been a day, I'd think, hold on a second, like, if I'm talking to you and I'm serious about this, something's wrong. Like, why have you not... So now I would, you know, contact... If he's generally not answering, he doesn't care that I'm worried. So then, you know what, I will remove you, because I'm not going to sit here and stress over someone. They can see I'm stressing because obviously I'm texting them and ringing them and they're not answering back. So then, you know what, leave it, because I'm not stressing over someone who wants to see me stressed.
I think them not opening it is worse than them seeing it and not responding sometimes.
True.
Because especially on Snapchat, when you can like half swipe.
Oh, yeah.
And you know people can half swipe, and if they haven't even bothered to open it, that's bad. But then when they've seen it, like obviously they're gonna know you've seen it. But I just think not opening it at all is just really bad. And again, lack of effort.
I don't like this whole half swiping thing, because it's annoying, because obviously I'll half swipe. In my head, I've responded because I've seen the message, and I've done it so many times where I respond, like I'll be on the phone to the person, and then they're like, they'll say something, and I'll be like, blah 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 blah, and they're like, wait, how do you know? I'm like, because your message. They're like, so you half swiped me. I'm like, oh,
and people,
Snapchat Premium.
Exactly. I was gonna say that.
Premium's gonna put you out, Isha.
I think with dating apps, it's really hard, because obviously, I don't know if you guys have ever had a dating app, but you don't tend... It's not a social media that you're always on.
Yeah.
And so I feel like a lot of people, especially in this generation, they go on it in the evening, even if like they know there's someone on there that they're quite interested in. I feel like it's more effort. It just seems like more effort to go onto that app and start texting on it.
But at the same time, if you really do like them, you'll make that effort. And sometimes you'll take it from the app to a different app that messages or Snapchat, so you know you can contact each other frequently, and that kind of shows you how interested they are. Because they might not know, you might not be notified by the app that they've responded, and it kind of just shows how serious they are. Because some people, like, they want to get to know someone quickly, they want to get married quickly, so they'll be on the app a lot. Someone else might just have it for a joke, so it kind of lets you know.
How quickly would you say you would want someone to ask, like, oh, can I get your number from the app? Because obviously if they're still texting you on the app, then in my head I would think that, like, say we've been texting for a month now from the app, let's say in my head I'd be like, hold on, he's probably still swiping on other people, like he's still looking. So then how quickly would you want him to kind of say, like...
Well, I think if you're talking like every day, after about like 2-3 days, you could take it onto like iMessage. But then if you're just responding like if and when you can be bothered, then you kind of know it's not serious, and you kind of just...
I'm really bad with giving my number. I'm like, you can have my Instagram, you can get my Snapchat, you can get everything, but then my number comes in the end.
Yeah,
like, once
you got to work.
I know
Wait,
you're okay.
Yeah.
The first time it's like time for our call, that's when I'll give you my number, and that too, I might do it through Snap.
I think that like in this day and age, like there's pressure from still the older generation, but not so much our parents, or not so much your friends and family. Like you said earlier on, like your friends are like, some of your friends are getting married and stuff. But like for me, if my friends get married, I still don't feel like I need to find someone or get married. Like I'll just do it how I want to, because there are people in their 30s and they're like, I'm not going to get married yet until another like 5 more years. Like they want to travel, do stuff. So
yeah, I personally do think there's definitely a lot of pressure on some people to get married by a certain age. Like in our culture, there's people I know, certain families who will want their kids or their grandkids to be married like by 25, for example. But then there's other families who are like, oh no, like we're not as bothered. Like personally for me, I'm 22 and I haven't felt any pressure at all really, apart from pressure that I'm putting on myself. But then I think if I was to get to 26, 27, then I think my parents would start saying like, is it not time you settle down? But then at the same time, you can't force these things. No. Like you can't force someone to like you. You can't force yourself into a relationship and marriage. So I don't think this pressure is good at all, because I'd much rather find someone, or they find me, and then we just kind of go with the flow, rather than having this pressure over me, because it's not helping anyone really.
You said the pressure that you're giving yourself. So why are you giving yourself
Well,
pressure?
okay, I think it's like mainly just because I want kids at like a young age, because my biological clock will be ticking. And also, again, seeing people my age married, it kind of, I'm not in a rush, but then when I see them, I'm like, should I, because I haven't even like started looking, so I'm like, I need to know them for a few years, so should I start looking now? But then I'm like, I do kind of want to prioritize my career as well, and I want to be in a stable job before even thinking about that. So
Do you think, because obviously we've all spoken before that we're all from quite a westernized background, and with me, like, I think about this and I think if I got married at 25 with like my Asian friends, that would actually be okay, that's cool.
yeah.
But obviously from where I am back home, Leamington, a lot of my friends are English, and I don't think they get married like that early on. And I feel like if I said that to my English friends, that I'm getting married at 25, I feel like they'd be like, really? That's so young. And in my head, I'm just kind of like, oh, like it just mind boggles me a bit, because I'm just kind of like, you know, with my Asian friends,
Yeah.
I'm like, it'd be fine. But with my English friends, I'm like, oh, they're going to judge me for getting married so early.
But it's even crazier how young people used to get married, like back in the day, like family members who I know, they're like, oh, I had kids by 22.
Yeah,
I was
married at
married
18.
I was married by 17. I had 3 kids by 25. I'm like, wait,
how?
yeah.
How are you doing that? I'm literally 21 and I can't use my own washing machine properly. I've never moved out of my house. And I think if I did, I would really, really struggle. Like, how are you out here getting married?
Yeah.
Doing all this responsibility and then having kids as well. And some people have got kids at the age of 21.
I
I'm
know.
like,
Your
huge
kid
respect
at
to you,
yourself.
because me,
Yeah, but I think back then it was programmed into them. Like, you finish school, you're going to get married, we'll find you someone, and you're going to get married. And then you can have kids. Like,
Well, not a lot of them went to university.
yeah,
So
exactly.
there's that.
a lot
Yeah.
of women did not go to university, but
Yeah.
a lot of women now are going.
Yeah.
Like, for me, I'm in STEM, so for me, my job is quite demanding. It's very corporate as well. So for me, my career is really, really important. I kind of said that before. So I think before, if you go back in time, the woman was just expected to stay at home. Her only responsibility was, okay, if she's going uni, then straight out of uni, she's meant to get married or something,
Yeah.
and then just like look after the kid, and the guy's meant to go out and make the money.
Yeah.
But I think now that's changing, now that a lot of women are getting into their careers,
Yes,
getting into
definitely.
education. It's equal on both sides. So the both sides want to develop their career and then maybe start a life together like that.
I've heard that a lot of parents say, like, oh, you can do this once you're married. Like, even with like silly things, like when I was younger, I was like, Mum, can we have a dog? And she was like, you can have a dog when you're married. Or you can go on solo trips when you're married.
Yeah.
But then when you actually get to being married, you've got all these responsibilities, you're gonna have kids, like you don't actually get that freedom that you always wanted and you're always promised.
See, I think I've been very lucky, because my parents dig it into me anyways. They say, you're very lucky, you know, Isha, because a lot of people, blah, 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 this and that. But I you know, I got to give it to them. I am lucky, because they've never said, for example, I want to go on holiday just with my girls. They've never said, no, you can do that when you're married. They let me go. I've been on many, many, many girl holidays. I want to do this. They let me do everything, as long as it's, you know, to good standards.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I have to say, as much as they drill it into my head, I am very lucky, because they've never said, once you're married, you can do this.
Oh.
That's so true. It's also like, yeah, when you get married, then you'll realise that all this food that I
Yeah.
make you'll realise the value
yeah.
of it and stuff. But in terms of like general things, like, oh, if I want to go out, like you were saying, like go on holiday or something, my parents have never been like to me, oh, Ria, you can only do that when you're married. They're like, do whatever you want, when you want, how you want, live your life the way you want, because that's how it should be.
Yeah.
And I have to say, my nanny G, she's actually moved with the times, because so a lot of my cousins, they've got their own kids, they're married now, because obviously my parents are both the younger siblings. But with them, she never used to really let them go on holidays with their friends and stuff. With me, my nan is so open to it. She does not mind. Like, she's like, oh, like my mum will say, oh, she's going on holiday with so and so. Cool, great, you know, be safe. My nanny G is so open with me. Like, she actually allows me to do so many things, and I feel like she's kind of moved on with the times.
Yeah, I think we're all really fortunate that our parents and grandparents are like that. But then I know a lot of families aren't like that, and it's kind of sad to see like people that I know who aren't allowed to do certain things. They might be like a lot older and they can't do these things, and they have to be, for example, married by a certain age. They still have a curfew, and it's because they're still really kind of traditional. And then they'll be promised, yeah, you can do this once you're married, but then the in-laws might not be okay with it. And
Yeah,
it's like, you're promised this happiness, but you might not even get it.
Yeah.
Do you think that their family is my family and my family is their family? Would you call their parents mum and dad and expect the same?
I think so, that if I'm with a guy, I think their family is defo my family and my family is his family as well. Just because I think family is such an important thing for me. And for me, if all of us can just get together and just get on, just talk about stuff, just have fun and all of that, I think that's a really, really important
Especially
thing.
if you're living with them.
And I think if you've got kids as well, then for them to be able to see that the whole family's like united in that kind of sense, and like your in-laws are not just your in-laws, but also just like your parents, they will then in the future also end up doing the same sort of thing. So I really want to pass that on to my kids as well.
See, I've grown up with having my mum and my dad say to their in-laws, mum and dad. So I only think it's right to have that relationship with my in-laws and be able to say mum and dad. Obviously, it'll take time.
Yeah.
When I first meet them, it's auntie, uncle. But then after a bit of time, yeah, of course, mum and dad, because I want them to kind of feel like I'm their daughter. I've married their son, so I am their new daughter in their house. So I would hope that they can see me like that. If they can't, then obviously I haven't done something right, because that is what I want.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like, you're marrying into their family, so you should just become like one big family. And if I'm calling his parents mum and dad, I expect the same from him.
Yeah.
If he's not doing the same, then that can't run. But I want to call them mum and dad, so I expect him to do the same as well, because it's just respectful as well.
Yeah.
And it creates like a nice environment. Like, yeah, I would definitely, yeah.
Is there the one?
I don't. What you classify as the one?
So then that is saying, is there the one? See, I don't think there's the one. I think there's someone who so I have a criteria. Yeah, there's someone who matches most of the criteria, but no one's perfect. No one's going to match that criteria 100%. Therefore, they're not the one.
But then
they can become the one by developing feelings for them, getting to know them, feeling like you're in love with them. That's when they become the one. There isn't the one. They can become somewhat.
Yeah, it's a tricky question, because like, what is the one? I feel like the one is someone that's made for you. And if they are made for you, they might not have everything you want, but you just might get on really, really well. But then there could be multiple ones.
It's like friends. Like,
Yeah,
I'm sure
exactly.
you have you've said this is my best friend, and then you've gone to uni and you've been like, oh, this is my best friend. And then you go to work and you're like, this is my best, so.
Yeah, I don't know if I believe in the one. But yeah, like you said, I think you can morph them into the one.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think they can become the one through like relationship is just like compromise and stuff. So
Yeah.
if you guys can both do that together, then yeah, they can become the one for you.
Yeah.
But then don't you also think that putting the one is a lot of pressure on people as well?
Yeah.
People then go around looking, oh yeah, I'm trying to find
The one, yeah.
But then you never know that if you give this person a chance and if you guys work together, then you could just both make it work, and again they could become your one, you could become their one.
Yeah.
So like you don't just have to look for the person and that's it. Okay, like this person's tick marks everything, they're the one. There might be something that you don't like about them.
I feel like saying they're the one is almost saying they're perfect, but no one is perfect in this. Like, no one is perfect. So I feel like it's not good to say the one. I feel like, yeah, he's the one for me, the one I've been able to grow really deep feelings for. But he's not the one, because I don't think anyone's the one. Weddings. See, obviously it's traditional to have a big wedding. Like, you invite the whole bin, everything. You invite everyone. I want that.
So do I. But have you seen how expensive they are? Like, you could have saved that money to buy a house, but you've spent the money on like one day of a reception.
But it's the best day of your life. It's the one day that you're never hopefully going to get back again.
But then for us, it's so many separate days as well, and you have so much like organization, and you have to put so much money into every single day, and sometimes you just have to invite people for the sake of inviting them, because otherwise it's going to cause family politics. And some people nowadays just want a small wedding with people they actually want there, because it can still be the happiest day of your life without you spending all that money.
Yeah.
See, I just
The thing is, I want a nice how do I say, like, I want a nice decorated, like, nice big Indian wedding, but when I say big, I don't want too many people there. So I still want everything nice about the wedding, the big fat Indian wedding, but I don't want too many people there.
Yeah.
It's like, if I'm looking around and you're coming and taking a picture with me and my husband, whoever it's going to be, and we're just
Who's that?
smiling, and like, I'm like, hey.
Who
And they're
are
like, yeah,
you?
we probably saw you like 20 years ago. We're like, oh, yeah.
When you was a baby, yeah.
Who are you? So yeah, like, I want the people who actually understand and are there to really celebrate the happiness rather than just getting the food.
But
Which I know
do
is a
you
big
not
thing.
do you not think your parents are gonna have somewhat of an input? Because I know, like, when I get married, I'll have my list, but then I know my nan, my mum, they're gonna be like, oh, but you need to invite this person. I'm like, I don't know who that is, but I'm gonna have to invite them because my parents want them there.
Yeah, because obviously it's not just people you know, it's people that your parents know as well. And then the list just keeps getting bigger and bigger, and then you don't know when to stop, and then it becomes so expensive that it's too late to go back, and it's just a lot of stress, personally, I think. But then if you don't have a big wedding, then people will start asking questions. Like, no matter what you do, people are going to complain. So at the end of the day, just have a wedding how you want to have it, and invite who you want to invite. And I've always wanted a big wedding, but now seeing people around me get married and the costs, like how much DJs are, how much the food is, I'm just like reconsidering all my life choices.
So I make links.
Yes, that is so true. So I think proposals within our community, I think they're just there for show, to be honest, because you have like the roka, which is the actual kind of where the families meet, and that's where you're like, oh yeah, we're gonna get married. So then
Basically your engagement.
exactly. So what is the need for a proposal after that, especially if you're doing it after everything else? Like, you know that you're going to get married to them, so really you're just doing the proposal for show, maybe to show off to people, put it on social media. Like, we don't really need to have one, to be honest.
See, so one of my mum's friends, she was getting married, and I remember my dad saying, he goes, like, back in the day, proposals weren't a thing.
Yeah.
It was, you have your rocker and that's it. And so I feel like us brown people, we're kind of trying to encourage like this Western idea of a proposal as well as having our traditional stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of, I think it is unnecessary for us, but I feel like people are just trying to like bring in this like they've seen it and they're like, oh, I like that. And so they've kind of tried to.
Would you want a proposal?
Yeah, I would.
I feel like we all would.
It's
want
unnecessary.
One. Yeah.
But I would like one.
Would you like a big one or like just something low key?
I want it as like, I want it big in the sense that his gesture is big.
Yeah.
So I don't know, a beach, and like he has like it all like beautifully decorated, red carpet, but no one there.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I
I
want it like
agree.
that.
Yeah, I just want me and him to be there, and anything that's thoughtful, like that's
Yeah.
not, let's leave it up to him, whoever it is, whoever's watching
yeah.
this. But yeah, anything that's like nice and thoughtful, and I think a lot of like Asian weddings, they are mostly just there for show.
Oh yeah.
Like everything done, okay, let's do this for show, let's get all of these gifts over here for show. Like, I've seen Desi weddings and they'll keep like fake gift boxes and it's
Oh
got
my
nothing in there,
gosh.
and it's just for the photographer to take and be like, oh my god, look at the gifts over here, and nobody actually knows that they're
No.
literally empty.
I've been to a wedding once, and I won't say who, but oh my goodness, so much drama happened because they were just so like, everything had to be like for show. It's
Yeah.
like, we're holding these baskets, no, show it because it's got this in it and it's, we've spent this much. Who cares? Like, the baskets that we're going to give and they're going to sit back on the floor. Like, it's crazy how much we do things for show.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, for weddings, for Desi weddings, it comes onto the parents. Oh, how did the parents do the wedding of their kids?
Yeah.
And I feel really bad for my parents because I'd never want to put any pressure on them ever, but I know there is that slight sort of pressure on them. Okay, we have to invite, like you were saying, invite this person. Even though I want a smaller wedding, it's like they're going to have to invite these people because they have to invite these people.
I think growing up in a Western area, there was never really, like, it was hard to find people who fitted my criteria. And so I feel like the Sikhing app is actually really good because it's kind of like, it gives me a chance to find people who are like the same religion as me. Like, I know that, like, okay, just because I'm from a very westernized area, I don't have to marry someone who is not going to be the same religion as me, because there's this app that actually allows me to find people who are from, put the location that I want, etc., from wherever, and it widens my variety, but still ticking the boxes such as my same religion.
Yeah, I think the Sikhing app is a great idea and really, really helpful for like people like us, because again, I'm from like a kind of white area. So there's literally no one around that would fit the criteria for me to marry. So I would have to kind of use these sorts of apps. But also because there is a lot of pressure on people to get married by a certain age, these apps are helpful to kind of find people. And especially if you have that kind of certain criteria, maybe like they have to be Panjabi and Sikh, then for example, you might see someone out and you like them, but then you realize, oh, actually they don't fit the criteria, so I can't marry them. But by using these apps, you know that these people will fit your criteria, and I think it's just a lot more helpful, a kind of narrowing down as well, like for people you are allowed to marry, especially if you've got that criteria from your parents.
And it broadens the search, because obviously, you know, with, let's say you're at university, you're studying, you're at work, you spend a lot of your time working, you're not going to have the time to travel somewhere. And like, even if like your local Gurdwara, for example, you're only going to find people that are going there that are from that area, whereas this app allows you to, you know, broaden the search and think, hold on, I could find someone in London. And, you know, because you're not from London, like for example me, Leamington, London, completely like different places, and my person could be there, and this app allows me to find him there, because obviously it's, you know, I'm not having to travel and waste so much time to find them. It's on my phone, simple, put my location in, how far I want it, done.
Yeah,
no, I think the Sikhing app is a really good thing, because dating in this generation is really hard. And I think any app that allows you to find a person of your community is just an extra filter that you have, and it just becomes easier to find the person.
and I think like in our community, everyone's kind of in the same boat as well. Like a lot of us have certain people we can and can't marry, and certain ages that we kind of have to be married by. So at least you know that on this app there's people that like think the same as you and are in the same boat, so
They have the same expectations.
and you'll just feel more comfortable speaking to them, knowing that they kind of know your situation. It's probably like their situation as well.
Is caste a big thing for you? Because like, I know with my family, like they've always said to me, it doesn't matter, you can marry whatever caste you want. However, my nan, she, to all my cousins and me, has always said there's certain castes that you cannot marry. You must marry from ideally the same caste as where my family. So I feel like for me, I don't care about caste. Like, I could not care. But for my nan, it's still quite a big... It's actually quite a really big thing for her.
Yeah, definitely. When I speak to my friends or like people of my age, they always say like, I don't care about caste and I'm doing it for my parents or I'm doing it for my family. Because at the end of the day, like, what difference does it really make? Like, we're all really the same. So why are we discriminating people that you could marry and be really happy with? And I feel like it is definitely more the older generation. And it's maybe not so much... for them, they're worried about what other people will think as well, and so they're telling you not to marry within this caste, or you need to marry within your caste, just because they're scared of what other people will say.
But you gotta remember, like, that their caste doesn't mean anything now, because that's come from their family, like back in the time. Like, like that doesn't mean anything. Like, someone could be like, for example, Amjad, I can be that, and then someone can be a different caste, and they could still be like earning way more than me. They could have like such a different lifestyle, and it could be kind of saying different to what the caste system would say. So why does it matter like now? Like, it's such a backdated thing.
Yeah, I think you compared it once to like, oh, like a lawyer needs to marry a lawyer, like like job wise, and I think that's actually like a really good way of thinking of it, because I really don't see why you can't marry someone just because of maybe like a job they did back in the day. For a long time I didn't even know what castes were, and I think it was better when I didn't know because I had to like ask my mum. I was like, what does it mean? I was like, I don't actually understand why are we still talking about it now? Like, I only really learned like not that long ago, but I think that shows how like insignificant it really should be.
And it causes a divide within our religion, because like, I obviously going to a uni that has quite a lot of brown people. I have seen individuals, and they're like, they will become very competitive. They're like, yes, I'm Jat is the best. And then you have Dakans, and they're like, no, but we are, like, you know, and it becomes divided, and we're all one religion, we're all from the same culture background. So why are we dividing ourselves even more?
Exactly. And within our religion, we're not even meant to believe in the caste system. Like, we're all equal. We shouldn't be dividing ourselves based off whatever job you did or whatever else. Yeah, and I've known people who will like be like, oh, so what's your surname, just to figure out what caste you are, and it's like, well, why does it matter?
And your surname, for example, like if you got married into a family, your surname changes, so then you could be marrying someone of a different caste, and so then you can't go by, you know, can't say like, oh, you're this caste. Well, no, hold on, I married into that family. And also some surnames, for example, my surname Sansi, not many people have heard of it because it got lost in translation, etc. But like, you know, you can't go, it's just silly. You can't, no, I don't like the caste system.
No, it's a very backdated thing, and I feel like our generation, if they do use it, they use it in a really bad sense, like you said, for competition. And then it's a lot of people have it in their mind, oh yeah, we have to marry the person with the same caste, but they don't actually know what it means.
No.
It's just like a job that their great granddad must have been doing.
Yeah, I don't think people in this generation know what it means.
Yeah.
And so therefore they just kind of have it for this competitive side because they've been told certain caste is higher up than another caste.
Yeah.
And so that's all that this generation is using it for. I think the Punjabi music industry has played a massive part with the caste system because you see a lot of musicians that will mention the word Jat. They say Jat in everything, but you don't hear many other castes being mentioned. Why is that?
It kind of makes you think that like Jats are superior, and that's the way I feel like the music industry has made it sound. Personally, I don't kind of pay attention to any of that. I just like music. But yeah, it's not spreading a very good message about caste.
No, I do think that, again, because this generation, you know, Punjabi music is very hot right now. Everyone's listening to Punjabi music. I've seen, so we went out once and there was individuals who weren't actually like Indian, but they understood what like was being said a bit. And in one of the songs, I can't remember what it was, but it said something, it mentioned Jod, and all I remember was them going like this and like that when it said, and I looked at them and I was like, they don't even know what that means. But they've just seen other brown people doing it because those brown people are Jat, and so then they're like, you know, saying like, yeah, I'm proud to be Jat, but be proud to be everything, like, doesn't matter.
Yeah, I know of people who were like, when they were at school, they were being called names just because of their caste. And especially at a young age, like, why are you doing that to people for something they can't control?
No.
I just think it's so sad.
Yeah, people are looking up to these Punjabi singers, and obviously if this message is coming through across, they will learn to follow it then.
Yeah. I think it has been normalised in this generation a lot to become a Singh. Like, I do think it is... See, I think it's a difficult one because I don't know if you heard about... So where I'm from, there was a school and this kid, he got bullied for his religion, and obviously he looked a bit different to some other kids, etc. And they were making fun of his bug. And so he didn't drink water when he went to school because he didn't want to go to the toilet because he knew there's no cameras there and these kids would come and bully him.
Oh my God.
See, hearing that in this generation is crazy because you don't hear it that much, but then it still is going on. So I feel like it has been normalised, but there is still that bit where it's like there are still people out there that don't understand, appreciate, etc.
Yeah. But I think because people are more proud to be like a Singh, it's like they're encouraging more people to kind of embrace their identity and do what they want to do. Maybe before people were being judged and like attacked for it, whereas now a lot of people are open-minded about it, which is good.
I think obviously because we are taught it more as well, like as in religious studies.
Yeah.
But I do think it needs to be taught a bit more because again, these are younger kids that are bullying younger kids, whereas in like our age kind of people, you don't really see it as much because we are educated, we understand it. But younger kids, I think they need to be taught it quite early on because it is the younger kids who obviously they don't understand themselves properly yet because they're still young and they're just coming from a family that they've been brought up by. So I think it is important to just kind of get it out there quite quickly and early on about different religions, etc. Okay, so I've got some he's a 10s. He's a 10, but he doesn't get on with your family.
Ooh, he's a negative infinity.
Damn.
He's a negative. No, he's a 0.
He's just not on the scale.
No,
for
because
me.
there's no point taking that serious because I'm not gonna marry you if you're not gonna get on with my family.
My family are everything to me,
Same.
so you need to get along with my family.
Yeah.
I know my family before I know you. So
Exactly.
You have to get on with them.
Yeah.
He's a 10, but he's shorter than you.
Ooh.
Okay, it depends. If he's like a millimeter shorter, but he's a 10 otherwise,
No, because what if you wear
Measure him.
heels?
Simmer's gonna be like, you millimeter.
he'll have to get something to put in his shoes. I don't know, but no, because if he's a 10 and he's like absolutely perfect, but he's like a tiny bit shorter, oh, I don't know.
I'm going 3. Because I'll be so real.
0.
I need you taller.
No, I would really like that, but you can't have everything you want.
You can't, but then like, I don't know, this is more like dominance wise, but when I see guys out in the street, if I had someone who was 5'10" and I saw a 6'1" person, I would be like, wow, they're tall. And I would kind of wish that I had that.
I agree with that.
Yeah, same.
So I've always said 6 foot plus.
6 foot. Literally, I'm 5'3.5". I say that. But I need like a 6 foot guy.
Yeah, but you got to save them for the tall girls, because otherwise...
Yeah, but they
I
can,
don't care though.
I mean, that's what I want. Like, I really want a tall guy, and I don't have a reasoning behind it, but
No, I do as well.
It's just something I've always really wanted. So for me, you'd be like a 0 to a 1.
Yeah. He's a 10, but he's a mummy's boy.
You're 1,000 for me.
I don't understand that.
You're
I
1,000
hate
because
mummy's
I hate
boy.
it.
I love a mummy's boy, because the thing is, when I see a guy treating his mum well, I know you know how to treat a lady.
Yeah.
And I feel like anytime I've experienced a guy who gets on with his mum really well, he's always been really like, just like the little things he does, like, Rhea, don't walk over here on the side of the road, or just like.
But that's just being caring. You can do that and not be a mummy's boy. Because in my head, a mummy's boy, their mums treat them like a child, and so they're going to expect it from you.
Yeah.
They won't expect you as their wife. They'll see you as their mum, and they're going to say like, well, my mum can do this. Why can't you make my dinner? Why can't you do my laundry? Why can't you do this? No. And that's a mummy's boy in my eyes.
Yeah, I wouldn't see a mummy's boy as someone who just respects their mum. I think it's more excessive than that.
Yeah.
If you're relying on your mum for everything, if they're treating you like a baby, then it's not going to work. And I don't want to be looking after you. You need to be looking after me.
I feel like they would compare you to your mum. They'd be like, but mum does this.
Yeah, and also
I'm not
they're
having
probably not capable of much. If their mum's done everything for them, they probably can't cook. They probably just don't know what to do. Like just generally, like, can't wash their own clothes, none of that. And I need someone who can do that.
And they'll run to their mum in an argument, I think.
Yeah.
I feel like if you and your husband have an argument,
yeah.
they're going to go tell their mum, and they're going to say like, oh, she did this, blah, blah.
They're going to get their mum to fight you.
Yeah. No, thank you. Let's
No,
sort our own problems out, please.
Yeah, I wouldn't want that.
He's a 10, but he can't cook.
A 7, because I can't say that I can exactly cook that well. Like, I can make some dishes, but then that's something you can learn. Like, we can teach each other how to cook, and it's not like a deal breaker. So yeah, I don't think that's that bad.
I say 5 because, yeah, like you said, I can't cook either properly.
Yeah.
So I can't expect it. But then it's the thing I really do want. Like, I want you to be able to cook so that if I'm really tired or if I've been busy, etc., I would like you to be like, don't worry, I'll do it today. I don't want you to expect me to come and do it after a long day of work or something.
Yeah, I'd say a 5 too. I can cook properly. I can cook like full, proper traditional meal.
Your husband's lucky
Not that
then.
I was expected to know how to do that, but I just learned it because I like cooking. But it would be nice if the guy is open to learn how to cook. Again, you don't need to make the most like complicated of dishes. Like, you could just make a pasta and that would make my day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if they refuse that, they're not cooking.
Yeah, and if they refuse to learn as well, if they're just expecting you to do everything, then a 2.
He's a 10, but he wants you to live with his in-laws, with your in-laws.
I don't think that's bad. Like, 9. I'm happy to do that. If he's like saying, oh, you have to, or we're not getting married, then that's maybe a different kind of story. But I wouldn't mind living with his in-laws, so that wouldn't really bother me. I'd say 9.
So yeah, I don't really want to live with my in-laws, but you know, it depends how he asks me about it. If he's very like, no, we're living with them, 2. 1. But yeah.
Yeah, I'd say a 10. Like, I'm open to living with my in-laws, but obviously if you're a 10, that means I get on with your parents as well. So
Yeah.
I would be open to that.
So we're going to react to some reader dilemmas now. So, first one. Joined the various apps, matched with a few people. At the beginning, speaking to multiple people anyway. Added them on Instagram and turned out 2 of them were sisters and the 3rd was their cousin.
Oh, sticky.
No, it's weird because like if you were talking to them and for example 2 of them were brothers and then like you ended up marrying one, then you'd know your whole life that you'd been speaking to the other one. Do you know what I mean? It's just weird.
That's actually weird.
And I don't think I'd...
And obviously you don't know what they're talking about to each other. So then it's
Yeah.
kind of like you've told one brother something,
Yeah.
and then has he told that brother? And then also like it is just a bit weird. Like what if they both fancied you and then like it's just weird.
I would
Yeah.
take a
Obviously
step
that's your
back.
brother-in-law then.
Yeah.
Like one of them becomes your brother-in-law.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's-
imagine they don't tell
yeah.
each other, and then later on, like you get married, and then it comes out.
Yeah.
It's like it just becomes sticky. So why get involved in something that?
And then it'll always go in your head like, does she love me? Like, is she gonna like fall in love with my brother?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
You know, like,
No, it's just a bit weird. I'd take a step back and remove myself from the situation. Next one. Went on a date with someone, really liked her. The first couple of dates went well, and she mentioned that she liked a particular musical show. So I bought tickets for the musical for date 3, £150 each. She messaged me after the show to say she had a nice time but wasn't interested. She did pay her half of the ticket though.
okay, that's all
Well,
right.
that changes a lot.
That's okay. If she didn't pay for half the ticket, then no. Like obviously that's
I think it's okay. Obviously, you've still kind of wasted £150 on your ticket, but then she's not going to know that she doesn't like you until maybe later down the line. It's not,
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like she would have done it on purpose.
No.
Like, if she's genuinely not interested, it's good that she told you now before you pay another £150 for the next show.
like I would never go and spend £300 on a date
For the
if I've-
third date.
Yeah, if I've not known them that long.
Yeah, it's kind of on him for doing that as well.
Yeah.
Because date 3, I wouldn't say it's that serious to be paying all that. But then at the same time, if she gave her the share of the money,
Then
then
it is
it's
okay.
not too bad.
But obviously if he didn't enjoy it, then it's kind of like, well, he has just wasted money. So then again, do something that you're going to enjoy.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening.
And if you're single and ready to mingle, you know what app to get on to.
And also check out Girl Who Cares. We release episodes every week, so do drop a follow and a like, and also any suggestions for any topics that you'd like to discuss.